Hey friends, so how are you all today? Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Aaron and I are visiting some friends for the weekend, and I really wanted to get into the garden and do a little bit of maintenance work. They've been away for the year, and the garden just went crazy wild, and the weeds were taller than me in their beautiful, beautiful raised beds. So I figured let's show you guys around, see what's happening here. So they have these two raised beds and some more stuff over here that was full of weeds that were taller than me. Anyway, so what's better to do than to plant garlic?
So we're planting garlic and we lost daylight, but I found a way to save some time. I took the butt end of a short shovel and use it to form the 3-inch hole that is needed to plant the garlic. And since we're planting about 120 of them, I figured instead of digging holes, I'm just going to form them in the loosely compacted soil we just dug up and meted out. So it's pretty loose. I can just push the shovel tip in, handle, and just go ahead and form that hole. And we just mass produce that about 120 times, and we're gonna have hopefully some really good garlic come winter and spring. You should also note what time of year it is. It's an unusual time to plant, but garlic is sort of a backwards season crop. So you plant it in fall and harvest it in spring or early summer. I'm gonna get probably 9 plants per row, and let's see how many rows we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 by 9 is 81. Actually, maybe closer to about 110, because it looks like I'll get maybe 3 more rows in. And I'm using HCP, hexagonal close packed arrangement, for putting the holes in, so that way we can actually fit more plants per 4 foot by 4 foot area. So if you just did them in straight rows in a grid, you'd probably get 81, but using HCP we get about 110, so increasing the yield ever so slightly. So we'll see how it goes. This is kind of an experiment, but then again, isn't most of gardening just an experiment? We'll see how it goes, and we'll check in throughout the year. So we just finished planting garlic and it got late, but essentially what we did here is we took a half of a 8x4 or 4x8 garden bed, raised bed. It's raised up about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet really above ground, and we just used half of it, so it's a 4x4 section, and we put garlic in it. And really, based on the depth and the spacing, you're supposed to put garlic 4 inches apart. So in order to get more yield, instead of doing rows where we'd only get about 8, maybe 9 across each way in a 4x4 plot, what I did is I used the HCP, hexagonal close packed arrangement. So instead of doing straight rows, it's staggered, kind of the way you would stagger, the way they do bottles now, bottles of water in the packages. So more like a honeycomb. That's HCP. So by doing that, instead of getting 9 by 9, which would be 81 plants, we got basically 12 by 8.5, which is the average of 8 and 9. So anyway, we're able to get 102 garlic out of the 4x4, which I'm happy about. That extra 20 heads of garlic is going to do wonders. That's how science and mathematics can help you in your garden. So anyway, really excited about this. Can't wait to see what it's going to produce. And like I said, that with the shovel tip method to form the hole, just go ahead and grab that and shove it in about 3-4 inches, take it out, and there's your preformed hole Sprinkle a little tiny bit of organic matter in there to give it some soft landing, and then you just go ahead and place your clove of garlic butt down, sprout up right into the hole. Use your fingers to make sure it stays straight up, and then we're going to brush it loosely over the top with some more organic matter. Hopefully that'll stay good for the winter. Also, what I'm going to do, because it does get a little cold here, is I'm actually going to insulate with probably a good 5 or 6 inches of leaves once the leaves start falling, and just kind of insulate the bed on the top with that, because I found that it doesn't just help the plants and the roots form, it also keeps the worms happy, because we don't want all the worms to die off, and they tend to freeze, especially in a raised bed. So I'm going to provide some insulation around the sides and the back here, the top. I might tarp it over for a little bit. I'll have to read up on how much water it actually needs, but that's definitely what we're looking forward to. So yay for garlic.
So good morning, beautiful people. It is about 5:30 in the morning, and we came to our friend's house last night in the middle of the night, and as I was walking past this garden bed, I had to do a double take, because this is the bed that we planted with about 100 garlic cloves. It is about a 3x3, and that was the first week of October, excuse me. And now it's 2 weeks later, we came back, and as I was walking past this, I'm like, there's no way that these things have sprouted that quickly. I thought it would be a lot colder and they wouldn't have sprouted. But they are about a foot tall now, and it is quite okay. Those two are probably the shortest ones. They're about 2 inches tall. Everything else is at least a foot tall. So I'm just gonna, when we come back later on in the day, I'm gonna cut the centers a little bit so that the scapes don't start forming. But they are so beautiful. I just wish it was sometime in April. Now I'm gonna leave them like this, and in in the winter, in January, probably they are gonna start to freeze off. Even though they are a cold loving plant, they do need a winter. They need a little bit of a frost, and if you don't have a frost, you can even pop them in the refrigerator for about a month or so, just to harden them off and get them ready for sprouting. Anyways, so a small lesson in when to plant garlic in Delaware.
Okay, so here is the garlic. It is October 30th. We planted this over a month ago, and it looks like it was a little too early. This is an overwinter crop, and as you know, garlic likes to take off at the first sign of warm weather. So we've had a couple of 80-degree days still in October, even at this latitude, and yep, the garlic thought it was spring and popped up that soon. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to let it grow for probably another week, and then I'm going to go ahead and just clip them off right at the base of each plant, and then I'm going to put some straw or leaf matter on it to insulate it, and then cover it with some kind of barrier on top, so it'll give it some insulation from the snow, because all these leaves are actually adding energy to the root, which is good, but it does need to go dormant into its dormant stage to really take effect for next season. So I think we'll just take notes that we planted it a little too early, and we'll just plant it a little later next time, maybe closer to the freeze or maybe even after the first freeze.